Well, with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jason Anderson with Expedient Software. Excited to share with you today's presentation on proposal technology investments, how to avoid the common pitfalls that make those investments challenged to see success. So the presentation that I'll share is the exact same presentation that I shared recently at APMP, which is the annual APMP BPC, the Bid and Proposal Conference for the Association for Proposal Management Professionals. I presented there to a big audience of this exact topic, and I'm excited to share with you not just that presentation, but also share with you some of the interactions and the questions that I had with customers and individuals there. So with that, let me go ahead and dive in and share my presentation, and I hope this works better this time. That's Word right now, and now I will hopefully press F5, and now you hopefully can see my screen. So here we go. Unlocking success, why proposal technology investments fail and how to make them work. So as I mentioned, I'm Jason. I have 20 years in tech sales, and through that time, lots and lots of proposal tears shed, right? Lots of the blood, sweat, and tears along the lines of getting those winning proposals out the door. And high tech sales, especially, proposals are a very common vehicle. And by the way, I learned a lot in a lot of what I'll share even in this presentation through those tech sales when I saw customers invest in the technology that I might have been promoting at that time, and see some of those customers fail to achieve all of the return on investment they were hoping for. And I'll share some of those thoughts as well as we go into this presentation. I've also deployed multiple proposal tech softwares, and I'll bring that experience to this discussion. I haven't included, by the way, I deployed Expedience at my former company before joining here about 9 years ago. So with that, let's just talk about what happened at the APMP Bid and Proposal Con this year. First of all, I'm excited to see that more technology focus than ever has been brought to the room, brought to the crowd. People were absolutely clamoring about the ideas of how they could leverage, and even having more and more customers come up to me, or companies that came up to me that would share, we've got a mandate. We need to go now find technology opportunities for efficiencies. That's new. And that's why I say, wow, historically, we as a proposal community have been underserved by investments in technology. Clearly, that's driven by this next bullet, which is the Gen AI hype, the ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, large language model, Gen AI. Hey, can AI make my proposal for me? That hype is real right now. And that's also leading to this next bullet, which is there's more confusion now than ever before. It's not just do we use technology, but which technology? And there's so many options and overlap and confusion. And I'm hopefully try to share some ideas on that here as well. From a vendor's perspective, customers or companies, I should say, like Expedience, we focused largely on why us, right? That's our typical salesperson's role, right? Is to say, hey, we've got a great product, and here's why this is where our product fits and why it's different than some of the other tools out there. But there was no discussion on the elephant that's in the room. And the elephant in the room is the fact that to a large degree, not just proposal technology, but all technology investments fail to achieve the success that they were set out to accomplish, right? And so Forbes said 70 to 84% of all digital transformation initiatives fail to meet their stated objectives. It's a staggering number, and you might hope to think that maybe Gen AI or AI investments now with all the new advanced technology might be better. But MIT says the opposite. MIT said that huge study in 2025 of the 30 to 40 billion dollars of Gen AI investments, they failed to deliver any measurable ROI. Was the output from MIT's study. So why is that, right? Well, it's because technology itself isn't a solution to any problem. And there are a number of ways that the organization has to embrace that technology in order to achieve the benefits that it was set out to accomplish. And that's what we'll talk about right now. We're going to get into that why, that those pain points and the challenges of adopting any technology, and hoping for the best, but sometimes seeing something other than the best. So these are, in my kind of old school David Letterman style, top 10 reasons for proposal software failure. So I'm really going to I'm leveraging those two stats were more broadly around either IT investments or even AI investments. However, that AI investment number in that study, and I'll share a link if you'd care to get this presentation. I'll share my email and happy to share a link to the MIT article. That was largely sales and marketing. Those initiatives were significantly swayed towards sales and marketing. So we absolutely can imply a lot of proposal overlap in those stats. But let's talk about the top reasons where software specific for proposal automation has failed. Number 10 on our list is boiling the ocean. What does that mean? And we've gone so long with no technology that when we finally now have some tools that can help us do our job more effectively, there is this overwhelming desire that I talked to this proposal professional, proposal manager, sales manager, what have you, that they want to make the software do everything from this nuanced activity to you name it, across the board. They want to have the software solve every problem the business has ever seen or the proposal process ever sees. And whenever you set out to just fix everything, especially without having a lot of examination as to what the challenges are and prioritization of where the challenges, what items on that challenge list could bring the biggest impact. This is where you can suffer from trying to do everything, you do nothing sort of thing. So boiling the ocean is the number 10 reason for those failures. Number 9 on the list is failing our friends. Now, I said that in a kind of a tongue-in-cheek way, but that's to talk about this. That as proposal people, we have a tendency to think about us, our challenges and proposals, but we don't factor in all of the other individuals that are involved with, we don't factor them in. We don't give proper credence to the challenges of engaging subject experts and contributors and proofreaders and legal and management, etc. Sometimes these individuals are very difficult to get pulled into the process. And sometimes when we're so focused on we have a challenge and we're the proposal team and here's a product that does our job or the way we want to see our business work from a proposal creation and a proposal process perspective, that they don't get they don't oftentimes spend enough time thinking about those other individuals that are involved. Any tool that you choose should not add friction. That is the number one takeaway here around really not failing our friends, is making sure that we keep it easy for their engagement. Sometimes it's number 8. It's solving the wrong problem, right? Where sometimes we don't, like I was talking about before, without doing proper exploration of the current challenges and prioritizing which of those challenges are the critical elements, right? It is sort of that Pareto principle, that 80-20 rule, where you have to look for those core 20% of the process steps that create 80% of the bottleneck or the cost or the mistakes or the delays, what have you. These are the items that you have to have focus on and looking to see where do we spend our most time in solving those critical problems. There is kind of a double entendre to this image as well. There is some of this solving the wrong problems. Sometimes I'm talking to customers now more and more that are saying we're setting out with the mandate that we must use AI to solve this problem, and sometimes that is the hammer to the nail problem where we're actually starting with a solution and trying to retrofit what's a problem that fixes, what's a problem that this solution could fix. And sometimes that's a backwards way of looking at it, and certainly an opportunity for us to do better by solving the right problem. Number 7 on my list is hype cycle versus lifestyle. What does that mean? Sometimes when we go out to go buy a new piece of software or makes any kind of a lifestyle change, right? It's joining the gym, hoping that owning the gym membership will have us lose weight or get in shape or what have you. It's like we buy a tool sometimes based on how we think we ought to work as a business, not how we actually get work done here, right? So this idea is important that as you're considering what tools and tech could I use to make our process more effective, that you really spend some time being real with yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror to say, what is it that we do here and how is work done, and solving that problem as opposed to just the hype of what could happen or how you ought to work in your mind. My next two, number 6, and I'll just kind of forecast to number 5, are both leadership focused. One of them is a common challenge you see where it's leadership forced solutions. I kind of alluded to that a second ago, where leadership says, hey, go use Gen AI. We've read lots of studies that say that's where our money should be spent. And not just in Gen AI, by the way. Leadership has had this legacy of saying, great, we're going to make this investment. We know better than you do. Here's the software that you need, without engaging the proposal and other communities that touch proposals, the proposal team and the community of people that touch the proposals, without engaging those real world challenges and learning those real world challenges, and by engaging with those individuals. Leadership force solutions is a real problem and reason why a contributor, I'll say, to ineffective investments and less than successful deployments. So on the other side of that coin is number 5. It's lacking leadership. It's where the leaders are kind of MIA, missing in action on the initiative, any change initiative where we're going to go from doing it ABC to even implementing a slight variation to ABC, there's some degree of inertia or friction or resistance that's just that's inherent in any change. And leaders need to be visible and help kind of provide the necessary support and proper vision for where we're trying to go as a business and how this tool is going to be a part of that journey, right? So it's an important element to understand, is that we need to have beyond just the investment. It's not just sign off on the dollars on the budget and then the leaders are hands off. They need to be engaged in overseeing that change to make it more successful. These next two bullets, number 4 and number 3, both are really focused on the AI failures and then the investigations I've done into AI investments and those failures. The first is called, number 4 is called verification tax. And verification tax is simply the efforts that are required to take the output from Gen AI or whether it be ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude or Gemini or any of those tools. That polished output that those tools can create sometimes are so impressive that we think, wow, we're done. And then we start picking it apart and go, wait a second, but there are some real efforts required here to proofread, and beyond just proofread, it's that legitimately read end to end the outputs in a way that you can ensure the accuracy. And that time spent is called verification tax. And verification tax is a really important element to factor into any tools that you're considering. Times that you're spending and verifying and qualifying the outputs as being appropriate. The next tax is formatting tax. Now, what does that mean? Well, clearly we've got branding standards, right? We've got our client-facing proposals commonly have, whether it be fonts and formats or colors or charts and tables and graphics, other elements that are required to have a level of professionalism and consistency in how they're presented. Well, the AI tools, as beautiful as they are at creating new stuff and helping us, again, answer questions or build new content, their work product is frequently well, that's not branded. Frequently, it's text and text only. And depending on how you're consuming that, whether that be in Word or in other tools, there's a real challenge sometimes just aligning that with the rest of the document, that output with the rest of the document. So that formatting tax is the time that you're spending fixing and formatting and aligning and branding all of the outputs. There's real costs and time invested in that. Those two items, those verification tax and the formatting tax, are what, when we talked about that ROI of the AI investment challenge, those two elements are the key driver of where the biggest challenges become. Where sometimes AI can auto generate pages of content in seconds that takes us hours and hours and hours to either to first validate and to secondly brand and format. And those hours and hours sometimes are longer than if I would have created it myself and or use other tools. So that is, those are key drivers of the AI side of the challenges. So number two on my list is the silver bullet myth. What does that mean? It's just the idea that says, "Hey, I've got this magic bullet. I've got this silver bullet that somehow when I buy a piece of software, it'll fix it all." It's kind of the accumulation of a number of these items on my list, but we all do this. We have a tendency to do this anyway, where once we have we finally think the cavalry is coming and the cavalry is going, we're going to have now tools that will help us do our job more effectively, and you just sort of hope, I guess, that somehow the software is going to fix all of the ailments of our process. So we have people involved in the mix. We have a system or a process or how we engage those people. We have a process by which we route our proposals or RFP responses, whatever that document might be. Software doesn't magically replace all of those things, right? That the software needs to be an element that's considered, but certainly there are other pieces to that puzzle that need to be considered. And number one is change fatigue. What that means is just trying to do too much, trying to go too far with the solutions that you've deployed or the new processes or what have you that you're now trying to implement. That there's a real downside to making a significant set of behavioral changes. The higher the volume of behavioral changes that you're accepting into your investment, the lower the adoption rate is of that solution, the more pushback we get from others. This more the idea of I've just too much change and I'm overwhelmed and therefore I'm going to disengage. And those things absolutely will guarantee a failed investment. There is not an investment that we could make that would not see the that wouldn't suffer from, I should say, that wouldn't suffer from no one used it. we bought it, we deployed it, we stood it up, and we taught everyone how to use it, and we had the leadership engagement. But because we bit too much off, sometimes that high volume of behavioral changes really does create a real problem for the ROI. So those are the top 10. I tried to boil this down into a success equation. What does it mean to ensure? How can we consider the factors and drive up our probability of success? And this is the formula that I worked out with help from lots of others. The idea is that by measuring where we have our biggest challenges, those audited time leaks, the value that we expect, that's the V in this equation, multiplied by that last bit I was talking about, user adoption. So the more value, the more engagement adoption that we get, then divided by the friction and the costs, right? All those downsides I was describing, is in that math is where the investment equation really is driven. That the idea of the greater the value, the greater the adoption, the greater the impact is on those pain points, right? Not just it does everything that we ever wanted to do, but these specific challenges we had, that by resolving those challenges, we've created value and we're using it, right? Those are the drivers that really indicate the probability of success. And I I talked to that slide up front about how the vendors are all why us, why us. I do have a bit of that here because I thought it was helpful for me at least to focus this discussion on the generalities of proposal technology investments and the challenges of those investments initially, but then talk about, hey, this is what we do. So quickly at Expedience, this is kind of who we are, a one slide, if you will, on Expedience. We are specific to the proposal world. We're proposal automation specialists, and we've been doing this for a number of years, since 2014 here at Expedience. We have a model that has both software and a services team that help you overcome some of these, both the software itself, the vision of software, I'll talk about here in the next bullet, but the software plus people to partner with you. Our team is really here to help our customers find success and ensure that success is achieved at their business. Our vision from the software is to bring proposal efficiency into the world that customers already use. So it's that reducing that friction I was talking about a moment ago around that change and too much change. We limit change by embracing industry standard applications, specifically Microsoft Word, and more generally Microsoft Office and SharePoint and Excel and other tools. Really focusing on ease of use and maximizing user adoption, and get the benefit as well of security. That's not just a throwaway benefit, it's a significant benefit in the fact that our software is deployed behind your firewall. It's so your IT teams don't have anything new to manage. We are absolutely, by means of this vision, right? By delivering of that vision, that last bullet was saying we are the Microsoft Word and Microsoft Copilot specialists. So specifically to the proposal community, we are we've separated ourselves in the industry because most of those tools would say go online, don't do it in Word. We're saying the opposite: do it directly in Word because it has some real benefits to you. So how do we ensure success? I've kind of alluded to those right now, but let's dig into these 4 bullets, which are: number 1, our software is at zero friction adoption. It's stay in the tools we're using, eliminate that change fatigue, and allow people to leverage what they already know and how they work within whatever processes. For example, our customers that would show me a proposal right now, and maybe a work in progress proposal that has comments or highlights or track changes, or they're using SharePoint, or they're emailing that particular subject expert, etc. There's zero change to adopt our software with those exact processes in place, especially for those people downstream. To them, Expedience automates a Word document. So for folks downstream that are contributing to that Word document proposal, to them there's zero change. So that's right where they're working right now. The second bullet there talks about the content integrity, which is the accuracy. So where Gen AI is beautiful in its ability to invent and adapt and iterate, take this great thing and bring it for this new market or this new use or this new idea, whatever it might be. Certainly wonderful and capable of doing so. Gen AI can, that is. But in that creation, there's a verification tax I was talking about. We need to make sure that it's accurate. Our software in the core of proposal automation, not just our software, the core proposal automation is creating a content library of vetted, verified, signed off on, letter for letter, accurate records, content elements that can be reused and mixed and matched in any way that they can retain their accuracy. It's factual control that's achieved through a content library, and that's the second element that really helps us achieve great success for our customers. The third bullet is that second tax I was talking about, that formatting tax. Our software, because we live in Word, our content library is controlled by Microsoft Word styles and formatting and branding and images. And what that does is it allows us to, again, as we're bringing in these records, have them all consistently aligned and styled. The font sizes, the fonts themselves, the colors, the formatting of the branding elements and assets, they're all absolutely connected connected to the content of the library and connected to the documents and the templates in a way that we can ensure flawless branded presentations and proposals. The last bit there is number 4 is saying with or without AI. We're native to Word, which means we have native access, and our customers that use Expedience can beautifully coexist with Copilot and large language model kind of Gen AI capabilities. However, Expedience itself doesn't mandate the use of AI. In fact, we've recently surveyed about half of our customers are using Copilot and half are not today. So there's certainly no mandate from our software that it's an all or nothing. You've now got to embrace and move from everything being controlled to being wild, wild west and complete automation with AI. Around Copilot, we've got a number of services that I want to share with you that help. If a customer is embracing Copilot, we've got a number of services that help our customers see faster and greater results, faster results, greater results with our help. We've got a Jumpstart program for customers that are just adopting Copilot. We've got a Jumpstart program that gives you training and consulting that helps you move quickly into prompt engineering and standardizing prompts and storing and centralizing those prompts in a way that your team can leverage them. We also can help with Copilot agents, which I know you probably heard that term, agentic AI or agents. That's become very common kind of nomenclature. But how do I do that? And what are some practices from a process perspective to ensure those agents can be more successful? We can help with that. And lastly, I was mentioning the prompt engineering, and the second part of that is standardizing of those prompts into a prompt library. We have software that can help do that as well, that can store those in a very easy way. I'll show you that real quickly here after these last 2 slides, I think, or maybe this last few slides. Last thing is that we have Copilot for proposal teams, and this is a set of tools and consulting that are tailoring customers that are very template driven with their proposals. Are really interesting and awesome ways that we've developed to leverage Copilot as this master integration source, where you can pull content from other sources. Let's leave it generic right now for a moment. It could be Excel, it could be Dynamics, it could be other sources. Copilot can, or emails, what have you. Copilot can consume vast information, pull out key specifics that might be important to a proposal, and then our software can help you take those specifics and incorporate those into proposals themselves. Really awesome stuff, and happy to show that to anyone if you'd like to say, hey, let's see what that would look like in our world. Last thing to point you to is online. We have last thing in this presentation, that is anyway, is to point you to the fact that we have a lot of these resources that are free and available on our website right now. If you go to expedientsoftware.com, you'll see a Copilot resource center that has lots and lots of information we've piled up to try to help everyone make sense of all of these this quickly moving world. So those are the big things I want to show you quickly. Let me just, if it helps, I just wanted to kind of connect the dots a little bit between what I was just describing, proposal automation inside of Microsoft Word. This is not going to be a full-on demo of our software, but just hopefully a visual might be helpful to you. The idea might look like this, right? This is Microsoft Word, and inside of Microsoft Word sits this content library. This is something that we've chosen as an organization. I've selected this record to be a good about us overview or summary, right? But how this content would be presented and for your organization, and what you would organize, and how you would again present it, these pull down menus or these icons. It's all configuration driven, certainly tailored to each customer uniquely. But the idea of having, again, vetted and approved resources that are formatted and branded. These are actual Microsoft Word bullets. This is actual, again, content that can be brought in and effectively leveraged for my next proposal. But it saves a Word document, track changes, highlights, comments, emailing, what have you, posting it on SharePoint and checking in and checking out, or putting on Teams and collaborating in real time with others. All of those capabilities are still at play within this Word document. We're just automating a Word document beautifully. Let me show you one other idea is a template-driven example, where here's a template that might say, Jason, this is a maybe a proactive sales document or a statement of work document even. These are the services that I may want to include in this proposal. Maybe I want to include this data migration service as well. This particular template has rules that doesn't allow me to choose both of these pricing models, right? But this is the idea that I can quickly pull from that content library to generate a starting spot for a document. Now, this kind of looks like AI, right? Where it's, wow, it's doing a lot of, it's writing all this stuff. It's not writing stuff. It's pulling in elements from that content library that have all been vetted and all been approved. So do I have to read every single word of every single page in this document? I do not, right? These are pre-approved, vetted, signed off on elements that are in that content library that are at my disposal in a way that I can quickly pull together, again, a first starting spot, right? That first draft is in moments. These elements, these little placeholders, I talked about how Copilot could be involved with personalizing them, right? This particular piece of content in the content library has been threaded with or prepared for personalization, or I might say this is the long version of the client's name, and this is the short version of the client's name, and this is the industry that my particular opportunity client sits within. Now, when I declared that gibberish for long and gibberish for short and defense industry as the industry throughout this document, as those elements were required, there's that client name short, there's that client name long, etc. Somewhere over there, there's that defense industry use over here, right? Throughout the document, wherever those spots of personalization were required, they're all consistently controlled by our software. And again, that if you're using Copilot, oh, by the way, there's a really awesome play here to be had with bringing in elements from outside sources even. But I don't have to. If I'm not using Copilot, I could say these are, or I could drag and drop and complete all of these spots of personalization throughout the document in one really fell swoop, really quick way of doing so. So that's enough of a demo here for now. I just wanted to give you the idea that we're automating a Word document with standard pieces of content in the content library. Oh, by the way, Copilot sits there at my fingertips that as I need now to iterate, evolve, and I want to embrace some new AI magic to try to take what I have really well written and iterate or change it for a new use, Copilot is at my fingertips here to do so. So with that, let me go back to my presentation. I've got a couple slides that might be helpful for me to use to kind of sign off with, I hope. Let me just see if I can't get there. It is. There's back. So let's just ask. I've seen a couple of hand raises as we're going through. Are there any questions here? I've got a moderator here. AJ is with me. AJ, can you help me and tell me if there are any questions that I might be able to answer?
Yes, so we've had a couple of questions that I was able to answer directly during your presentation, but I thought there were a few that might be of general interest for all. The first is, what's the difference between proposal automation and AI or Copilot proposal creation?
Okay, I hope that question came in before that last little bit because I was just talking to. No, I don't. It's perfectly acceptable. It's a real opportunity for confusion, right? So I would classify proposal automation as really automation in general. The idea is we automate what we've done manually in the past, and what you're doing today likely has a lot of, oh, find where I've written this before and bringing these together. That's core proposal automation. It's the automation of what you've already created. It's not about invention, it's about automation. Where I would call AI and Gen AI and large language models and Copilot and Claude and ChatGPT and all of these tools are products and processes towards invention, right? They're creating new elements. There's some of that can be, some of it, even as they're summarizing, say, take this 20-page document and give me 5 bullets, right? They didn't, they are trying to summarize what's there. They're not inventing what's not existing there, but what they've created is an iteration, is an invention in and of itself, even if it is a condensing from some greater text, right? So I would broadly tell you that proposal automation is about documenting those great elements that you have whether they were created by hand or they were created with AI tools or they were created by subject experts or whomever, documenting those in a way that they can be quickly accessed, consistently accessed. When we're asked this question, we answer with this answer with some consistency. That's proposal automation. Or that template-driven document I just showed you. I tick those boxes. When I tick those boxes, when you tick the boxes, we do it next week, those proposals all look the same and work the same. That's proposal automation. Whereas AI tools are more about, again, in proposal invention, assessing and inventing. Other questions? I hope that helps.
Yeah, so just reading this again. So even if we don't ultimately end up buying Expedients, can we still consult with your team for Copilot assistance?
Oh yeah, great question. Yes, absolutely. We have, like I said, we've got a lot of expertise in Microsoft Word and Microsoft Copilot. And whether that's outside of Word, even into SharePoint and other places that Copilot reaches, which is across the Microsoft universe, really. But largely, if you're a proposal team and you're wanting to leverage Copilot specifically, absolutely reach out to us because I'm happy to connect you with our services group that can get you much further, much faster with Copilot.
One last one for right now. I know you quickly touched on this, but maybe it's good to have a quick reminder for all. Does Expedience automate proposal templates or simply just RFP responses?
It's funny because I bet they probably meant it the other way, right? Because I didn't really show the question and answer capability. So certainly, yes, the answer is both. So if you've got either a questionnaire, like even some of the forms of IT security questionnaires or what have you, but certainly if you've got a questionnaire document, you can highlight phrases in the document or type a search phrase within Word directly to pull content from the content library, kind of question by question, or RFP element by RFP response element, proposal element by proposal element, one by one. But yes, absolutely, Expedience can be helpful for both of those. And again, happy to do a full-on demonstration with any of you that are interested in seeing more about that as well. But yeah, both.
Great.
Other questions there? That's the bulk of them.
I think that's the bulk of them.
Okay. Well, if others come up, please feel free to shoot me an email. I've got my email address here. I'm jason@exp-soft.com, or go to our website at expedientsoftware.com. Happy to connect dots later or answer questions that might occur to you later. Likewise, if you ask me, I'm happy to share this presentation with you and share with you a link to that Forbes article I was describing from the 2025 research on failed AI investments. But hope this was helpful. Really enjoyed the presentation and would love to carry the conversation forward with all of you in time. With that, I will sign off and say thank you so much and talk soon.